Okay, we're back continuing our TDD kata on blackjack. We have uh, passed and cleaned our first test of 2 is 2. And we didn't do it very intelligently. We're just returning a constant. So this is not a generalized solution yet. I'm going to rely on triangulation to get me there, though. So here is my next test to do. So I'm just going to pull it out. I'm continuing the numbers. So I have two different examples for number cards. I did that on purpose so that way I can have some triangulation. So I'm just going to copy and paste this test, which signals to me that I'm already adding duplication in my tests. Not worried about that yet, but let's go ahead and add that to the to-do list. Duplication in tests, because meaning I'm duplicating a lot of code. I'm retyping a lot of the same stuff. So I should try to figure out how to parameterize this and not do it that way, right? All right. So I've just changed what I needed to do to hopefully get to a failing test. So I'm going to go back. This is in continuous over here, so it'll pick up the change, recompile, and rerun the test. And sure enough, expected 6, but was 2, because that's what we've hard-coded this thing to do. Okay, but we have reached our failing test, which we were wanting. So now let's go ahead and commit. We're committing again more frequently than we normally would. We're going to commit after the end of each stage of TDD. So this is fail. 8 is 8. I think that's what we're doing. Let me double check that. Nope, 6 is 6. Sorry. 6 is 6. Done. Okay. So now what can we do? Well, we have to fix this. So the problem is now we've got two tests that are triangulating here. One wants it for 2, one wants it for 6. So I need to do something more intelligent than this. First problem is that evaluate has no idea what cards have been passed in, and I need to know. So if the card was a 2, I should evaluate as 2. If the card was a 6, I'm going to evaluate 6. So that means add card is going to need to somehow pass data over to evaluate, and we should do that with an instance variable. All right, so here we go. We're going to make an instance variable as a private int called card. Is it an int? No, it's a char. Okay, so private char card. This dot card equals that card, the one that was passed in. And now it's available to me in evaluate. And by the way, so far I haven't fixed anything. It'll pass the same test so far and fail the same test so far, which is worthwhile checking. Yeah, so I still have the failing test, but it's the only failing test. Okay, now that I have the card over here, I have to figure out how to generalize. Well, card is a char, and what that means is it is the ASCII value of a card. So if I just did this card, let's try it. Let's just try it. See what we get. We're actually going to cause both tests to fail, and notice the value we're getting. Expected 6, but was 54. Expected 2, but was 50. So this is the ASCII value of the character. So what we really need to do is make that a number. So 50 is 2, 54 is 6. So notice, 6 is 4 more than 2, 54 is 4 more than 50. So what I can really do is subtract off the ASCII value for 0 from the ASCII value of 2, which will give me 2. ASCII value of 0 should be what? 48 then. I don't want to just hard code that in because I'll never remember what that is, and it won't look nice anyways. Instead, I will simply subtract off the char 0, which is the ASCII value for 0. So by subtracting that off from card, I should get what I'm looking for. Okay, and all my tests pass. All right, so I wrote just enough code to pass the tests. Let's go ahead and commit that. So we went from failing on that to passing on it. And we're all good there. Now we need to clean things up. Let's see, what needs to be cleaned up? This is fairly straightforward. We probably don't need to make another method for that yet. I mean, we could to explain what that's doing, and that's not a bad idea. We might do that. I don't need this comment anymore. Now I did have this duplication in test. To get rid of that, what I have to do is extract things that are in common between these two tests. Let's do that. So what my goal is to make as much of this code look identical between the two tests as possible, because then I can make a method for this. So first of all, I'll take the constants are what looks different. So let's check those out. So we have a char, that's a card, and that's 2. So I'm going to replace them with variables instead of constants. All right. Then I could do, this is the value of the card, right? So let's char value is 2. Right? And that should still pass. So I made those 2 quick little changes. I saved it. I'm going to check that my tests pass. Looking over here on the left. Sure enough, they pass. Okay. So I can do the same trick with this one down here. So I'm going to do char card equals 2. And char, oh, not 2. This time it's 6. And int, this should have been int up here, as I realized I made a mistake up there. Value should be 6. The reason it worked is because, remember, chars are integers in Java. They can be used where an integer is used. All right, if all goes well, my test should still pass. All right, there it goes, compiling, runs the test. Sure enough, it ran. So I'm actually making more code, not less, but look what's happened here. We've got 2 parts here that are identical. And that's what I'm going to turn into a method. And let's see, what should that be called? Well, we are asserting that this card has that value. So let's assert card card value. I'm not sure that's a great name. Card is value. There we go. And you give me the card, and you give me the value, which is an int. I assert that that card has that value. And let's move these down. Now I've got a problem. I didn't give you the system under test. And so I could pass that as a parameter, but I noticed that the system under test really isn't being used. I could have moved that down. So let me do that for a second. Let me go back. I'm undoing. Move this down to here. And let's see if that still works. I'm pretty sure if I move that, I haven't broken anything. All right, we're still good. All right, so let's move that down up here as well. So I'm trying to move all the code that is the same together. That'll make an easier change. Still passing the tests, I believe. Here they go. Yep. All right, so now I can take this code, move it down to here, save it. Oh, wait, I can't save it yet. I need to replace it with this. So we're going to now replace that code with a call to a method, passing it card and value, and see if that works. There it compiles, runs. All right, that's still working. Let's go ahead and do the same up here. In fact, I can replace it with the same exact line. Waiting for it to compile. There it goes. All right, nicely done. So now I have a nice little test method that does it. Now, why did I do that? Because as I keep going along, I can now add more tests more easily. Sometimes I delay removing duplication until I see 3 things of the same kind. Sometimes I do it with 2. If you're being aggressive, you do it as soon as there's any duplication. If you relax a little bit and do it when there's 3 duplications, sometimes that can lead to, sometimes early refactoring can lead to more problems in the future. We might see that in this example. I'm not really sure. We'll see what happens. Anyways, that's our cleanup. I think We could try to get more aggressive because we see that we have the same variables and stuff like that. We could get more aggressive about this. Do we want to? Oh, well, actually, let's do that because it's easy. So notice if I inline these two, I could just say card and value like this. Assert card as value. Nice. Oh, wow, I wasn't expecting that. That's cool. That's what's fun about this is you run into things that you weren't planning on and it becomes so elegant and beautiful. There it is. Let's make sure that works. Awesome. And one could argue that these are one single test at this point. This is a test about card values, and we did this with triangulation. We saw Kent Beck will put these in the same test, so we could do that too. We could say test numbers and move these into the same test and get rid of that. And now we got one nice test that tests the concept of numbers, which we are done with up here. Remove that, make sure our tests were passing, they were. All right, we have everything nice and clean, tight. This is all looking very good. Let's see, I'm gonna get rid of that blank line. All right, I think we have very simple code. That's what we like to see. Okay, tests are passing, let's commit, and this is the cleanup. So we cleaned. All right, and that ends this round. All right, next time we'll move on to the next set of tests.